guys, I'm gonna take you on the inside to one of our VIP coaching calls. Now, one of my runners here, she's gonna share that she just did her 80th, count 'em, half marathon. So you would think that this would be something to celebrate, but she actually didn't feel good about it because she didn't hit the time that she wanted. So ask yourself, have you ever gone out to a race and not run the time that you know you're capable of and that you really want? And how did it make you feel? Well, what we're gonna do here is we're gonna take this and flip it around so that she doesn't see it as a failure, that she sees it as a success. And this is not by sugarcoating it. And this is not by fluffy, look on the bright side. This is actually the truth. And once we uncover the truth about what she's really after, it's so easy to take something that was a setback and turn it into a success. I know that you're gonna love this, so stick around and you'll get to see me talking with one of our awesome runners on the inside. Ready? Let's go. So hold on, how do you feel about it? You said the time was slower than you expected, but do you care? Does it matter? Are you upset by it? Do you wish it were different? Like, how do you feel about that time being slower?
I guess just disappointed in myself, and now I'm nervous that maybe I'm not gonna reach my BQ goals this year.
Okay, well, ask yourself this as well. Are you training for the marathon or for the half marathon?
The marathon.
So you remember a story that I told you guys in the course where I ran a half marathon as a tune-up for a marathon a month before. I was in peak shape, ran a good time. And then I let it go, was in base training months later, no workouts, no intervals, no tempo run, no long run, just easy running and hill sprints. 2-minute PR in the half marathon, even compared with how I ran it, right? 2-minute PR in the half marathon. But then the craziest part, right, is I share another story about that same cycle, half marathon, tune-up, marathon race. And there was one year where I ran, I'll give you the times. The times don't matter, just the relative time. I ran, the half marathon was a 1:22:50. And then I ran a marathon time, whatever it was. Then the next year, same thing, but I trained for the marathon, not for the half marathon. I ran a 1:21:52 the first year. And the next year was a 1:24. So 2.25 minutes slower. But I ran 3 minutes faster in the marathon on the same course with worse conditions. How is it possible to run? If you're more fit, shouldn't you just run faster? Maybe, but I was specifically tuned up that second year for the marathon. So way slower in the half, faster in the marathon. And that might happen. If you go and run a 1,500 meter right now, you're probably not going to run your PR because you haven't been doing the 1,500 meter workouts. It's easier to see it in a spread like that, but that spread exists between the half and the marathon too. So if you're training for the marathon, then you might expect that your half marathon would even be slower, and it should be. Now, if you had Kipchoge, when he set his world record, in the marathon, if you had him run a half marathon instead, would he have broke his PR in the half? I'll bet you he would not have. He probably would have been close, but he wouldn't have because he didn't do that pace kind of work. So world record shape, but I'll bet you, we will never know because he didn't do it, that he wouldn't have run a PR, let alone a world record in the half marathon on the same day because he knew what his outcome was and he's focused on that. So in a way, the fact that you, look at this, in a way, you could have a belief that the fact that you ran slower in the half marathon means that you're on track for the marathon. You could think that that's bullshit. You could. And would you be right? Maybe. Could it also be true? Yep. And one of them feels like, one of them feels like, ooh. And that's up to you.
Well, I did think of your example in your year where you had the faster marathon after the slower half. And I was thinking, hopefully that'll be the scenario. But I also thought of when you said to Marilyn about flexibility and how Jack Daniels said, well, being flexible, does it make you faster? And I think, I'm really working on my flexibility. So maybe that's making me slower.
Oh my God. Yeah. I don't know what the answer to that is, but if you're making your calves and your hips more flexible, according to the data, the answer is yes, you'll get slower.
But at least I have mobility because before I was so stiff, I couldn't move well. So
yeah. Well, I'm laughing here because you're laughing because you know that this puzzle, this game that you're playing of marathon running in life has many puzzle pieces. And it's not just about the time you run on the half versus the time in the marathon. There's all these other components. There's your nutrition, your flexibility here, what it means, the kind of training you're doing, like it all matters. And just remind yourself of that, because there's another way that you can reframe this here, which goes as such. If you zoom out, so you run a lot, that was your 60th half marathon. You run a lot of half marathons.
80th.
They're all 80th. I'm sorry. 80. All due respect. So they're relatively close together. They have to be to get that many. So, but if you zoom out and instead of looking at each one, maybe what if you ran only 30 half marathons, but they were spaced out 3 times longer? Okay. What if, just imagine this, you're more likely to run a PR each of those races because there's more time, right? So you can just look at those 80 races and you could just look at every 5th one and pretend the other 4 didn't exist and just look at that. And over that time frame, so zooming out, right, you actually are PRing with more regularity. And so the fact that you go and you run these other half marathons just kind of in there as an extra, the expectation that you should PR every single time, year after year, decade after decade, good luck. But the truth is that you actually are PRing with regularity, and you're doing it as you're getting older, right? This is cool. And just reminding yourself of that, because you could have not run that race and you wouldn't have to feel the pain of running slower, but you don't care. You want to run the race because you enjoy the process and the community and towing the line. So what would you rather? I mean, you could avoid that bad feeling by not racing, and you feel better, don't you? But not really, because you want to run. So maybe just focusing on the fact that you get to run and do this and participate, and you don't care about the time. It's just a workout. Well, you have permission not to worry about it. I think it's great that you ran your 80th, and that should be celebrated, whatever the time is. And you got Boston coming up, and just focus on that and have a good time. Seriously. Okay. Hey, if you like that video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe. And the best way to give back is to take the link for this video and send it to just one of your friends. It really helps us grow. We appreciate it. Thank you. We'll see you on the next video.